Good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the Namaste Experience. It is Thursday, and as always, we are here to listen deeply to a voice other than that crazy one in our head. You know the one I'm talking about. The one that speaks for separation, the one that speaks for competition, the one that says you're all alone in the world. Get used to it. There's another voice that says you are never alone. You are here together with all that is wholly protected, wholly enveloped within love itself. That is what we're here to experience. And yet, unfortunately, what tends to happen until that point when we're ready to break free and to hear that voice, we exist in a kind of echo chamber. You all know what an echo chamber is. I actually looked it up on Google right before we started. And it says, an echo chamber is an environment or ecosystem in which participants encounter beliefs that amplify or reinforce their pre-existing beliefs by communication and repetition inside a closed system and insulated but from rebuttal. Insulated from rebuttal. So today in the so-called world, we have a wonderful, wonderful example of this echo chamber we're talking about. It's called social media. Here's the thing about social media. It tells you only what you already believe. It exposes you only to people who share your beliefs. If you go into Facebook or wherever it is and you search for a certain thing or you like a certain comment, it says, oh, that person likes this kind of thing. So let's give them only that. So they exist within an echo chamber and you can't hear anything other than what you already have in your mind. So imagine just for a moment that you live inside an actual little tiny echo chamber box. And this echo chamber box that you live in, when you speak or say anything, it echoes right back at you and you forget that it's your voice that you're hearing. You believe that it's someone else telling you something new when it's really just you. It's really just your own voice bouncing. But because you believe that the inside of that little tiny box is the whole universe, when it's actually just a tiny speck of nothing, a little closed system. You always believe that every time I say something, it's going to echo back at me. Oh, someone else is telling me something I should believe. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's essential that we realize this so that we can break free, so that we can lift the lid of that box and enter into the real world, where it is not my voice that I hear, but the other voice, the voice of the Holy Spirit. So we're going to begin by just reading a little something from the non-dual universe. Guess what it's called? The Echo Chambers. It's a chapter called The Echo Chamber, in case you're looking it up. Here we go. There's nothing in this world that can contain you. So stop trying to retain or hold on to anything in this world. This is the message we hear over and over and over. Stop trying to retain or hold on to anything. Come with wholly empty hands unto God. Don't try to cling to any belief or any thought that you've ever had, because every thought that you've ever had is just the result of putting yourself into a little perceptual box where your ideas are bouncing off, coming to you that you believe is coming from someone else, some other source. It is not. It's all you. So don't try and hold on to anything that is familiar. This is the mistake that we make. We trust only that which is familiar, a familiar opinion, a familiar idea, a familiar voice. So hold on to nothing. You still believe The container that you call your identity defines the truth of who you are. It does not. Your identity does not define who you are. It is like living in a tiny box, thinking that the box that you live in is the whole world. Your thoughts bounce off the inside of the box like an echo chamber, convincing you that what you are hearing is something other than your own voice. But you are now beginning to see an outline appear on the inside of the box, the outline of a door. You notice a bright light on the other side of that door, and it's getting brighter every time that you choose to listen to the voice for God, the other voice. Once again, until now, all you've heard, all you've chosen to hear is the voice that you are familiar with. You are more familiar with your own voice than you are familiar with any other voice that you could ever hear. And yet to create the illusion that it is not your voice, that you are not contained within this echo chamber, is the very thing that is keeping you from hearing the voice for God or the other voice. So that being said, yesterday we shared a little bit from Brent Haskell's Journey Beyond Words. Well, there is another wonderful book that Brent brought through called The Other Voice. Exactly. So I opened it up thinking, just right when Scott was singing, I thought, let's see if there's anything that's going to jump forward here about that voice for God, that we begin to hear. The quieter we get, the more we want to burst out of that little tiny chamber. So this is what it says. I speak to you as your brother. This is Yeshua. For that is what I am. In reality, in essence, I am no different from you in any way. Are we willing to trust that? I am different from you in no ways at all. I am the Son of God, just as you are the holy, perfect child of God. Just as every friend and every enemy that you perceive is likewise the holy, perfect child of God. I come to you as a brother, in your sense of time, perhaps older and definitely wiser, he says with a little wink. And I come to you from the vantage point of being free of the illusion that is this world, being free from the echo chamber that you still claim, or rather that claims you. So what is the first step to being released from this chamber of echoes? Anybody know? Be quiet. Yeah, that's definitely the first. Yeah. I'm not a victim. Turn your attention to God, and everything that you said can just be summed up by saying, realize that you're in an echo chamber. Figure out where you are. Acknowledge that. Acknowledge that what you're hearing is your own voice bouncing back at you, telling you what you already believe, reinforcing your fear of what might be outside the echo chamber, what you might discover in the real world. That's the first step. And then to be quiet, to listen to the voice of God, everything else. But we have to acknowledge that we are locked in, that we're tight inside this little tiny box called your mind. That's all the echo chamber is. It's your mind that has all sorts of ideas based upon all sorts of limited experiences that have convinced you that you are not the holy, perfect child of God. You are something else. Guess what? There ain't nothing else. That's all there is. And you are that. The holy, perfect child of God, complete and healed and whole, shining in the reflection of God's love. In you is creation sanctified and guaranteed eternal life. In you is love perfected, fear impossible, and joy established without. So the question now is simply, are you willing to go there, the place that you swore you'd never go? You made a deal. You may not remember the deal that you made, but you made a deal not to ever go there, not to lift the lid of that box. But guess what? Deals are meant to be broken. And you are breaking that every time you come here and you listen to whatever is happening here. It could be a song that Scott is singing. It could be something that Vicky or anyone else says. And you choose to take that in. What you're really receiving is something other than the sound of your own voice bouncing off the walls of that little tiny box that you live in. So why not now? Why not today? So I am very excited. Where's the remote control? Here it is. I'm very excited that we have both Lisa and Vicky and Lisa Natoli with us. So I'm going to turn it over to the two of you, and let's hear what you have to say about the echo chamber.
Well, good morning, Brother James.
Good morning.
And I'll just say one quick thing and turn it to my dearest sister. You can use the echo chamber to reflect love only if you want. In fact, I do this. So I'll go and fill up, what are you looking for, with only the frequency of love, only the frequency of happiness, only that frequency. And then it bounces only that back to me. So I'll have like Andrea Bocelli and The Chosen and Joel Goldsmith and James Twyman, and that's all it will reflect back. So there, because it's a law that the outside in time and space is going to reflect inside, and when we're finally let it reflect the light in our minds, it does that because it's neutral. There's nothing that has a bias of time and space. It's how we use it. So here's my dear sister. That's all I have to
say. Good morning. Yeah, what an awesome teaching. That is so awesome, James, because that's it, like the echo chamber. And like, to me, it is really about awareness, just exactly what you said, that every single thing that we seem to see, sense, hear is all literally within the parameters of what the image made, and that we're not the image. And so to me, like, that's been the last couple of years for me, is really seeing from that quiet place. I love that the first answer that came was to be quiet. When you asked, what's the first step? Is that stillness, be still and know I am God. Like, to be still and know how the Lisa image operates in this world, to see it from this, to kind of outside of the echo chamber, like to really see and clearly Lisa's patterns, Lisa's habits, Lisa's habitual ways of reacting, and just stay right there. So I love you. I love your books, by the way. The Non-Dual Teaching, The Master Within. So good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so simple. We don't need many words. In fact, I think part of the echo chamber life is that we need, in order to keep this play going, we need to keep that voice bouncing back and forth. Because what do we do when it stops? What do we do when we hold still? We have to just be present, don't we? But if we keep talking to ourselves, this is why we say that this perceptual world is really an insane asylum. We're just talking to ourselves, thinking that there are all these other people out there talking to us. And that's not it at all. So anything else, Vicky, Lisa, you'd like to share?
No, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for everyone here. And just really, this is the Great Awakening that A Course in Miracles speaks of. And it's a happening. It's actually happening, that more and more people are recognizing that we're not people. The recognition of oneness, the recognition of our wholeness and our innocence. You know, Vicky was saying when she saw you, James, come on the camera, and she said, you know, every time I see James, and then she pointed to me, and then she's like, and everyone here is just like, all I see is children. And that's what it is. It's like to that recognition that we're just all these playful children, and we found our playmates now. Like we found each other in time and space, and we're holding each other's hands, and we're waking up to the recognition of what we really are as this eternal, changeless whole presence, never born and never dies. And so I thank you with all my heart, James, for your commitment, for the community down there in Mexico, for everyone who shows up here on these calls, that it's like the reminders that you have really brought to this community, and you come every day. It's just like, that's an amazing thing, because so often we forget. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten what I am, and I needed my brother to remind me, kind of say, hey, hold on a sec. And so I just, with all my heart, for all you give and all that you share, and I love you so much.
Thank you. We love you. We're so glad you're here. We miss you. We'd love to have you and Bill come down and visit us again, or just join us on session whenever you want. I know you got a lot of stuff going on there. And Vicky and Lisa and I guess, I don't know what you want. Maybe the breaking from that echo chamber occurred through our association with the master teacher in Wisconsin. And boy, he was an echo chamber shatterer for sure. Oh my goodness. And that prayer that I was inspired to share a little while ago was something that we shared together all the time because it's such a good reminder. I always change the words because I like inclusive language. Instead of the Son of God, I would change it to, you are the holy, perfect child of God. So Vicky, you are right when you say we're all just children learning to play happy games. You are the holy, perfect child of God, complete, healed, and whole. You are shining in the reflection of God's love. In you is creation sanctified. In you is love perfected. And in you is fear impossible, and joy established without opposite. Now, I want you to say these words after me. I am the holy, perfect child of God himself.
I am the holy,
perfect child of God himself. I am the heaven where his love resides. I am the heaven where his love
resides.
I am is holy sinlessness itself. I am holy sinlessness itself. For in my purity abides God's own. In my purity
abides God's own.
And we say together, Amen.
Amen. Amen. Punto.
Period. No comma. It's not that and, it's that. I am that. The holy, perfect child of God. So let's go live this day in that recognition, and of course, share it. Give it away. See it everywhere, because that's the way you reinforce it. That's the way you stay out of the echo chamber, by the way. You know, you can break free from the echo chamber, but the truth is you've gotten very, very comfortable in that little tiny box. So in the beginning of this awakening, you're going to be tempted and will jump back into that box a lot because it feels safe, right? But the key is to keep giving this away. The more you give this away, the more you become the source of this for others. That's what keeps you out of the box. And that's what we choose. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Vicky. So good to see all of you. Have a blessed day. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Thursday.
Thank
Keep
you.
them laughing.
Bye-bye.